We begin tonight with an in-depth look at a growing dispute between a small town in Okmulgee County and the Muskogee Creek Nation. The tribe wants to bring new industry and jobs to Winchester, but many people living there are opposed to that happening. Reporter Steve Shaw has been digging into this dispute for several weeks and traveled to Winchester this week in an effort to get both sides of the story.
Winchester was incorporated in 1974. It sits on Highway 75 between Okmulgee and Glenpool. Duck Creek Casino is next door. Muskogee Creek Nation runs the casino. 6 months ago, the tribe hosted a groundbreaking across the street from the casino to announce they were using $10 million in Pandemic CARES Act money to build a 25,000 square foot meat processing facility. When they saw it in the Tulsa World, the tiny town of Winchester hit the roof.
I don't understand why they didn't come to us, because they knew we were here. They've been to our meetings. They knew that we have ordinances and regulations.
The devil is always in the details. The more Winchester learned about Creek Nation plans, the more angry they got.
They have refused to show you proof of any building permits from the state or federal government, correct?
Steve, they refuse to talk to me anymore.
David Page has been practicing environmental law since Ronald Reagan was president. 16 years ago, he filed a federal lawsuit on behalf of Oklahoma Attorney General Drew Edmondson against poultry farmers because of pollution in the Illinois River. He's about to serve Creek Nation with an intent to file a federal lawsuit as well.
There's three things about a meat packing facility that can cause pollution hazards, public health hazards. One is the actual holding pen for the animals, because they're held there for a while. And of course, animals defecate and pee and they eat, and there's flies and pestilence, and you have that part of it.
Page says in February, the tribe divulged their plan to build a large lagoon behind the facility,
where you use bacteria in the wastewater to eat the solids and break them down, and then they would take the liquid materials and literally just spray it out with a sprinkler system on the ground around the facility.
Page says those sprinklers spray 10 to 20 feet in the air.
We're going to take these disease-ridden waters and spray them up in the air.
I called Muskogee Creek Press Secretary Jason Salzman about this first on April 14th. He referred me to Creek Nation Agriculture and Natural Resources Director Trent Kissy. Kissy hasn't returned repeated calls or email. Neither has tribe attorney Kyle Haskins. Page says the lawsuit calls for the immediate stoppage of work here.
How many acres out here?
40.
Amy Thrower and her husband Josh's property mirrors the meatpacking site. She's in disbelief not just because of Creek Nation's plans, but also because a tributary called Eagle Creek flows through both properties.
They're not only right next to them, but they're in a floodplain, and so I've seen our creek flood many times.
It did it again this past Wednesday, 12 hours after our interview, and after less than an inch of rain. Gary and Judy Jackson live a mile away.
We've had rains, maybe a 6-inch rain, and we have seen floods that would probably take their lagoon out of where that lagoon is located. So when you have millions of gallons of pathogens in that water, and it's all flowing now downstream, there's too many unknowns and too many things that, as neighbors, that we're really concerned.
The lagoons are in a flood zone. I've been here for 40 years, and I've seen that creek come out of its banks and wash the bridge completely away at one point.
Eagle Creek.
Yes, and it's in that flood zone. So I feel like, one big huge rain and everything in the lagoons are going to be down into our water.
I have always embraced Indian culture.
Warren Henderson and his wife Vicki retired to their 120-acre Winchester ranch 17 years ago. Warren is a decorated OSBI and OBN agent and director. Now, on his property, 300 yards behind his trusted 20-foot deep bass fishing hole, sits what he says will be that Creek Nation lagoon.
You know, they made the statements, they kept making the statements that they wanted to be good neighbors. Well, That's wrong. I don't think they ever wanted to be good neighbors. We don't want any money. I don't want a nickel from them. I want them to shut it down, period. And you damage our property values, you damage our way of life out here. My horses, I mean, you talk about a sacred burial ground, this is a sacred burial ground. All my horses are here. And at 74, what am I gonna do? Am I gonna just uproot those horses? Because I'm gonna be with them.
In Okmulgee County, Steve Shaw, the Oklahoma News Report.
And again, as we tape this newscast on Friday, Steve's repeated attempts to get a response from the Muskogee Creek Nation have been unsuccessful.